Good afternoon and welcome to Table Talk on 802 Scoop, 185 North Main Street in Barrie. And the sun is shining today. Finally, 2 days in a row. What are we going to do? Yesterday I couldn't help it. I had to go get ice cream.
Well.
So I went over to Legendary in Williamstown and I got ice cream.
Yep.
I couldn't even help myself. It was a must.
Got to do what you got to do, right?
And they were very busy. And then the next thing I knew, I heard all this racket and all this dust was flying around. And it was Michael Booten and his entire family, it seemed. The whole clan was there on their four-wheelers.
Wow.
And side-by-sides. They had been trail riding all day or all morning long or whatever. And so they got in line. We all stayed there, hung out, talked for a little while. But I had my maple coffee bourbon ice cream. And oh my goodness. So you really got to go try it.
That's your backup to your regular.
To the butter pecan until they get the butter pecan on the menu. And then I'll have to go and have some of that too. But I don't do that stuff very often.
Yeah.
So, but it just felt good that the sun was shining and I had worked all day Sunday and most of the day yesterday, so I earned it, I thought. Why not?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. What'd you do?
Well, I worked outside all day up at the camp.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest son came with me, and we got quite a bit done yesterday. It was nice. It was nice to be out in the sunshine.
Yes, exactly. Is there a lot to do to get it all opened up?
Not really. I've been pecking away at it. I'd go up, like a couple hours during the day, and it's only a half hour to get there from here, so I can go up, do a few small things, but getting the water turned on, and in the fall I kind of, it's on posts and piers, so to keep most of the cold air out from underneath, I put heavy plastic around the base and weight it down so it won't move. So I got all that taken off, rolled up, put away, and now it's just time for summer activities.
Finally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Vermont State Parks, it was opening weekend for the majority of them as well.
Yep.
I guess they're way up north. There's a couple that are still closed, mostly because of mud.
Yeah.
Is what I'm told.
I don't doubt it.
I think Maidstone is at one that I saw that was closed, and then some way up north. But I can't remember them all.
So I wonder if Groton must be.
That's fully open.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they're fully open. Yeah.
Wow.
So everything has kicked into gear.
Stop to think about it. We're in the last week of May now, so June's next week.
I know. It doesn't seem possible. Father's Day's right around the corner.
Graduations.
Yes. And Laconia.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Laconia?
No, I haven't.
Laconia. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah?
Yeah. And that's all I'll say about that. Yeah. It can be a really good time, for sure.
Yeah.
But I won't talk about it lots. But it always falls. It seems to be graduation weekend, or and sometimes Father's Day, depending on when Father's Day falls, is the day that everybody's trekking back from Laconia.
I think Spalding's graduation is like the 21st. I think somewhere around there. But it's usually right around that, third weekend or whatever.
Yeah, coming up quick.
Yeah.
The flag's up. Looks absolutely beautiful.
It does.
And all of the new ones on Main Street. I mean, they look great.
Yep. And the big parade is Friday.
On Friday, yes. Starts at the auditorium. They'll leave the auditorium at 10:30.
Yep.
Then they'll be down here at Youth Triumphant by 11. And they'll have like their little ceremony and stuff there then. So that'll be good. Have you decided yet if you're gonna?
I think I might march.
You might march in the parade.
Yep.
And I wonder if the council as a whole will do it. Usually
they're all
at
invited.
least a few do it.
Yep.
I don't know the last time.
I'm sure the mayor will march because he'll be speaker too at the
Yeah,
ceremony.
yeah,
So.
the mayor usually does that, so that'll be nice. And a lot of people, they, say, well, the kids are gonna miss it, people are working, it's not okay, why couldn't they just do it? They've never done it that way.
No.
This is tradition that the Barry Area Veterans Council has always done Memorial Day and their parade and whatever on the 30th, which
Correct.
is the original or traditional
Yep.
Memorial Day.
Yep, that's
And,
right.
I did post, I don't remember the dates now, but when it was changed and why. And it's understandable why, but that's not the true day. And so it's very understandable where that a veteran would want to celebrate it on
Yeah.
the actual Memorial Day, which is the 30th.
Right.
Yeah.
And I heard all the school bands will be marching. So at least those kids will get to come out.
Right. And, there are a lot of people that say, well, the kids won't be able to learn about it. Well, they should be learning about it in school to begin with anyway.
Yeah.
Period. Memorial Day is something that you should be taught about and you should know and understand. I would think that it would be part of the curriculum. And, so I don't know about that argument. I guess I'm not on the same page with that argument.
I think it's something they should all learn about. If it wasn't for veterans, we wouldn't have what we have,
Exactly. That's what it's all about, and that's what kids should learn.
Yeah.
Right along with respect and many other things, I feel like, lately, because we don't see a lot of that
Yeah.
anymore. A lot of those things have kind of fallen by the wayside, for sure. But again, 10:30 it starts at the auditorium, and it'll be down here at 11 o'clock. And I will be live down here on Main Street. I always try to be down here live, and then up at the park as well that way.
Yeah.
For people that don't get out or can't get out, or maybe they do want to see it and they have to work, they can watch whenever they can.
Well, it's
So,
good that you do that.
yeah, I've always done that. This is a holiday that I'm pretty passionate about too. Anything to do with the veterans and the Veterans Place or anything like that, something that, yeah, for sure. I am thankful for my friends and my server country. Married to a veteran. Our kids, the screen's gonna flutter back and forth on me. Married to a veteran. Our kids know what Veterans Day versus Memorial Day is, but so many grown adults not knowing blows my mind. That is so true. Memorial Day is to memorialize those that fought and are gone,
Yeah.
that served and are gone. And Veterans Day is
For
the
all
for
veterans.
all veterans.
Yes.
And so, definitely two very different things. Glenn says he wishes he could march in it, but Glenn could probably, I bet you he could get a ride along with somebody.
Yeah.
One of these times. They definitely do that. There are some vehicles, and they definitely do take some veterans.
Yep.
If you were to contact
Ron Tallman.
yeah, maybe even Ron Tallman, get together with him, and I bet you they would figure something out so that you could be involved. But it's a special day, so if you
Yeah.
can be down here, and I totally understand. But boy, the gripes. But we all know that that's what happens, right? And they get in the comment section, or they, I advertise it, and people will totally freak out, all upset that they're not going to be able to be there and that their kids aren't going to be able to be there. But I look at it as there was a 3-day weekend. If you wanted to celebrate it in your own way, you did. There were other parades and festivities, so if there were things that you could participate in And this one just happens to be on
Right.
the 30th. And I support them and that decision.
Montpelier
totally.
had theirs yesterday. They do
Mm-hmm.
they do the Monday holiday.
Yeah. And I saw Northfield
Northfield did. Yeah.
and I think they may have not, I think they did theirs on Sunday, didn't they? Or did they do theirs yesterday as well?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but there were several of
Yeah.
them. I saw one in Jericho where they said there was all kinds, like
Yep.
thousands of people showed up for that one. So I had never heard of, I didn't know that they had one that was that big, but I guess they do up there in Jericho. And then Hope Cemetery. I mean, we might as well talk about it because that was a big thing. Yes,
It's always
yesterday.
it's always a big thing.
But it was a big thing over the Memorial Day weekend
Yeah.
and holiday that there was problems up there. There was no water running at the cemetery, and that's a pretty big deal when people can't water the plants that they're planting in the ground.
Yeah.
They can't take care of what's there. A lot of people were pretty upset.
Yeah, I saw a few of the comments, and that's it. It's the busiest weekend of the year at the cemetery is Memorial Weekend. I do know the reason the water wasn't on, or from what I've heard, the reason the water wasn't on was that a vehicle had run over, backed into, or whatever, one of the water spigots, the granite post and all, ran it right over, broke the water pipe there. I don't know how long ago it was, a couple of weeks maybe, but so that's why that water wasn't on. I mean, I'm not making excuses for them, but that was what I was told. Whether or not they could have had it repaired before then, I don't know. But there was other things I saw in there. There's, grass that looks like the grubs have gotten back in, and I'm sure they'll address it. I'm sure they'll have everything back up to snuff. But that's one of the things, that you have to be aware of up there is that is the busiest weekend of the year. I also saw postings from the Vermont Veterans Cemetery down in Randolph that it hadn't been mowed, it hadn't been weed whacked, grass was very high. And I don't know what the deal is down there. If they use a private company to do their mowing and trimming. I thought at one time they used to use students from VTC, but I can't speak to what's going on there. Just that, we're not the only cemetery that had issues over the weekend.
Right. And I, too, saw a few of those. I saw some people that were really upset about a cemetery in St. Albans and another in Morrisville. And, all it's done is rain. Exactly. Glenn and I said it at the same time. All it's done is rain
right.
for a month, too. So then you're trying to fit a whole lot of stuff in. That wouldn't have the water problem, but the mowing and the trimming and the things like that. I suppose that trying to keep up with that. I know my lawn finally got mowed on Sunday, and yesterday on Monday, and it was a mess. It was a freaking mess, and big, huge clumps. You had to keep going over and over and over it so that it didn't look like shit,
Yeah.
So hopefully we can catch a break here and people can get caught up on some of those sorts of things.
I'd like it to stay like this for about a week. It'd be nice.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's going to.
No.
It sounds like we're maybe only going to get a very little bit of.
Is it towards the end of this week it's raining again?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. That's what they're saying. But,
I didn't see anything.
hopefully.
I didn't see anything about the other two cemeteries, St. Monica and Elmwood, but I'm guessing they're probably about the same condition. It's hard to mow when it's pouring out.
Right.
So
Yeah. I haven't, I noticed, there were some people up in Elmwood working
Yeah.
late last week, but I don't know that they were all city employees either. I think that some people just do it. I know that I'm pretty picky about where my mom is at Hope, and so the majority of the summer I carry this little weed whacker around in my car and make sure the battery's always charged up and ready to go. And
Yeah.
I try to keep things as done up as I can around her stone, and then at my brother's at Wilson Cemetery, the same thing. Just
Yeah.
try to get up there and keep it all done around his stone. So, who knows? Barb says she hasn't got to speak to you yet, and so she wants to say congratulations, Jeff. So glad to see that you stayed on City Council. Yes, Barb, he won by a landslide.
It was a tough race,
Yeah,
Barb.
that's what I keep joking with him about.
Tough one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Barb, for letting me put signs on your lawn. I picked them up.
Yes, we got those all. I have to say that went really quick. We had a couple of people willing to help us out, and the sign picking up went really quick this year. Most of them were down the same night, the night of the election.
Yeah.
Very few were left up the next day.
And I got those. I got mine anyway that were out the next day. Mm-hmm. But that was good. And thank everybody for all the help in doing that.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes it takes a village, right? You get that stuff done.
Yeah.
So, do we know if the water's back on yet at the
I doubt if it
cemetery?
is.
Because they need to make that fix.
Yeah, they need to fix that. And I think I saw somewhere posted over the weekend there was a water leak or break down on Seminary, North Seminary Street. So that would take them away from doing the cemetery. But
Right. I think they had a couple of breaks last week, and that one was, I think, on Friday because the road was closed.
Well, it came up through there
down on the
earlier
end.
today, and there's water still bubbling up out of the middle of the road. So,
Yeah. So there's still troubles.
yeah.
Trouble somewhere. Paving, that's still happening
Yep.
out back, and
Yep.
that's rolling right along. I think, this week, do they expect that they'll finish
Should
back
be.
there?
I would think. Yeah.
I have not been back there and looked. I haven't been back there since the city council meeting last Tuesday. And
I was there
checked it out.
Friday. I had a meeting Friday at City Hall, and they had paved all the way up to, I think it was just about Blanchard Block. Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah, so they've gotten quite a
Yep.
ways. Nice. It'll seem nice not to have to crawl 5 miles an hour through there and still dodge all the holes
was
and
like
the
a war
cars
zone.
coming at you and stuff. It was pretty bad, and I'm happy to know that they're going to do Prospect Street pretty much on the heels of that. I think.
yeah.
Because that's just as bad as that back parking lot was for
Well,
sure.
have you ever been on Allen Street?
Yes, I
That
have
was
been
nasty.
on Allen.
That's terrible.
That had gotten pretty bad as well. Now they were doing some sort of repair. They closed the Allen Street down
Yeah.
up above Green Acres.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they were doing.
I don't know if there was a break up there too. Actually, there was a water break on Allen Street because they had the whole dilemma about the school not
Oh,
getting
yes,
notified
not
of
getting the notifications
boil water
out quick
notice.
enough. Right, that's right. So I did see that because I was, after we left here, I think on Thursday, I was going up to the ball field and it was raining, pouring rain, and the girls weren't up there yet. So I was going to do just a circle, and I got down Allen Street, and just as I pitched over, it said road closed. So I had to turn around there and go back the other way.
So
But
speaking of the ball field,
yes, let's speak of the ball field.
the concession stand was broken into last week. I think ended up being 3 different times. I think the third time was Thursday night, Friday night. Anyway, they have some information, I guess, because they put some cameras up. The perpetrators came through the woods, so they're either coming from the end of Palmazzano Plaza, Westwood Parkway, or even from as far down as Green Acres.
Yeah. Yep.
Nobody came from, say Prospect Street up or from Morrison Road over. They definitely came up through the woods. So they don't know. I think it was Officer Thayer from Barrytown said could be from one of those three places, or there's a homeless encampment down in those woods. So I don't know where that left off, but they at least know where these people were coming from, and I think they may have pictures of them. So
Good.
but
Good.
whoever
so the
it
cameras
was,
paid off.
whoever it was that done that, you're lowlifes. This is money that these kids raise to, buy their equipment, keep the field maintained. That's low.
Yeah, for sure. And do we know how? So did the girls get that door done, like the
I don't
flap
know.
over the window
I'll probably talk to.
on Thursday?
I'll probably talk to Jordan.
I know that
today.
they were working on
Yeah.
that. I don't know that they were able to finish. So, and that was kind of the same day. But the plan was to get the cameras up and stuff. So, and it was pouring rain, and she
Yeah.
was out there working all by herself. Her sister or sister-in-law had used a truck to deliver the stuff, and she was just there working away by herself, building this door or this flapping door to come
Yeah.
down over the window. And so hopefully they can get something figured out where the glass can get fixed.
Yeah.
That door can be down. The cameras are up there now, and this stuff can stop. Because, I mean, it's unrealistic to think that you're going to load everything in your car and take it home with you after every game. You should be able to leave it there, and it's always been left before, and there's not been issue. And so to think that somebody was going to be able to do that every single time, load and unload all of that stuff, and is just absurd.
Yeah.
So hopefully, and thank you to all who donated, their money and resources to help make this happen. The fix. I know Portland Glass, Dave down there.
Pugsley.
Pugsley, you call him. But, a lot of people stepped up too,
Yeah.
because they realize how hard these kids work and what this means to so many kids.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's ridiculous. It's gross, and
So hopefully they'll get caught.
I hope so. We should go out. We should have a stakeout.
You and your stakeout.
Yeah. Don't you have a duck blind or something?
I don't.
You don't?
No.
Aren't you like a mighty hunter?
I used to be a mighty hunter. Then I bought a camp.
And now you're just
Now I'm a
camper?
leisurely hunter.
Now you're a winter camper?
A leisurely hunter.
A leisurely hunter.
Yes.
That means that you bring the gun to camp.
I go out in the morning,
Yeah.
first thing in the morning. Then I come back late morning. And then it's debatable when I go back out again. But depends on the weather and what's on TV. So we have TV at camp. We have,
All the good stuff?
yeah,
Well, those important things.
it is.
Yeah. Glenn has a hunting blind. He said we could borrow.
All right.
We could literally go on a stakeout up there.
You get to put like camouflage paint on their faces and stuff.
Sure.
Ooh.
Sure. We get a willy suit. Why not? We'll kick their ass. Glenn says he's got experience in stakeouts.
I bet he does.
Yes. Well, being a police officer,
Yep.
I'm sure too, he could teach us a few tricks. And I told you I've been on a few of my own stakeouts, and may have sometimes do crazy ass stuff during those stakeouts, but sometimes the girl's got to do what a girl's got to do.
Are you Batwoman?
Could be. I don't know. Sometimes I've been called batshit crazy.
I was
Does
going to
that
say
count?
that, but
Does
I
that
was,
count? Does that count as Batwoman?
Yeah, that's,
Batshit crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. But No, I mean, in seriousness, that's got to stop. Your son, Jordan, was awesome and emailed over the
Yep.
schedule for us, got that done, and that's been posted. And I shared it just again today,
Good.
actually, just to remind people that the Barry Community Baseball, Softball, what the schedule is, and how awesome it would be just to really support these
Yeah.
kids and the youth, and bring your kids so they can watch their classmates play and stuff.
Yeah.
Help them out. They got
Yeah.
a lot going on.
The games are fun to watch. They are.
I'm sure they are. And it's summertime, so
Yeah.
it's, it's not field hockey or soccer or one of those things where you're going to be sitting in the stands freezing your ass off while your kids are lacrosse. My son used to play lacrosse. He used to freeze to death sometimes. Oh, Barb wants to go with us on the stakeout. She's ready she's going to bring her taser.
Oh, jeez.
So, see, we could have can you imagine? We have the crew of us up there hiding in Glenn's hunting blind. I don't know. I think I think we could do it.
Probably.
Yeah, we could probably scare a few people
Oh,
away.
yeah.
I mean, good Lord. Speaking of scaring people away, so last night I have at least 12, maybe more, videos of people coming in and out of this parking lot to buy drugs, not from this building,
Is it from the self-service window?
but from the self-service window.
yeah.
It's like a freaking creamy stand over there, busier than a creamy stand. And so literally the alarm, beep, 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 beep on my phone all night long. One video after, I started setting off the alarm, sounding the alarms when they were over there. Didn't even make them squirm. Didn't jump, didn't run, just took their time, made their purchases, and walked away like no big deal. I mean, you got to be some friggin' higher than a kite to not even care that the siren is going off, and you just continue to do your business anyway. I sent every single one of them to the police department.
Yeah,
Every
good.
single video I took. And you can really see faces. You can see license plate numbers. You can see one of them has like it looks like a white car on the video, so it may be silver, but they have like some word written across the front of their windshield. The car is like very obvious.
Yeah.
It's certainly not something that you're just going to hide of who you are. That's for sure. But I'm just so sick of it. This is, this parking lot doesn't belong to that person or those people. There's people that live here, people that work, people that come in and out, and they should be able to do so without worrying about that bullshit. And I'm just tired of it. I'm going to keep posting them over and over and over again. I didn't post those videos, though I should. And maybe I will still. I might make a reel out of them.
I think you should.
I will, zero in on all their faces and make a most wanted poster or something. Who knows? And play it over and over. But and then I posted a video of a local business though, where somebody stepped up onto their porch and grabbed their the door handle, and their alarm went off. They have an actual alarm, and it went off, and the guy looks all surprised, in the camera. Everybody has cameras these days, dumbasses. So he took off running, and I posted that video for them, and it maybe 10 minutes, and we knew who it was. Everybody knows. They start chiming in. Oh yeah, that's so and so. That's so and so, and so it very much out of control, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the post someone put on Facebook of underneath the gazebo?
Yes, of all the needles.
Disgusting.
Yeah, all the needles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're around the park too. They're around the gazebo. It is. It's awful. I'm gonna pull up this article here. have an article, or it's not an article. Yeah, I guess it is. It was in the Times Argus this morning, and it's from Nicholas. And I'll pull that up here so that I can read it, because even though that sometimes I may not always be in agreement with everything, I definitely am in agreement here, for sure. But the city manager writes, and this is, you can find it today. He posted it 12 hours ago. It's public conduct. The ordinance is what they're talking about. Demanding public safety is not a crime. At the May 20 Barry City Council meeting, the police chief and I introduced and proposed public conduct ordinance. It passed preliminary review by a narrow 4-3 vote, an indication of how divisive this issue has become. In the lead, come on, my phone's going to stall. In the lead up and aftermath of the vote, the public's discourse has been filled with hyperbole claims that this proposal represents a dramatic overreach or a fundamental threat to civil liberties. It's time to clear the air. Critics of the ordinance argue both that the behaviors addressed in this ordinance are already illegal, and this radical new measure that criminalizes poverty both cannot be true. If these acts are already illegal, have we not already criminalized poverty? Or is this, in fact, a reasonable clarification and reinforcement of existing standards? This ordinance does build on existing state and local laws. It introduces clearer language, adds new offenses like public urination, and outlines progressive consequences, up to and including no trespass orders. It also designates high priority enforcement zones, schools where children would congregate, ATMs and parking meters where cash is being handled, and public facilities, shared community spaces. Some suggest we are curtailing the protected rights of the offenders. I believe public safety requires balancing the freedoms over everyone involved. Consider the last time you flew on a plane. We submit to shoe removal, full body scans, and facial imaging, all in the name of collective safety. All we are seeking to accomplish is similar standard of safety and accountability in our parks and public spaces. This ordinance is not about punishing people. It's about preserving livability and protecting everyone, including vulnerable residents and families who simply want to enjoy public spaces without fear or disruption. If you want to be a part of the solution, your voice is welcome, but contributing meaningfully to this conversation requires recognizing two things. We do, in fact, have a problem, and finding a path forward means balancing compassion with responsibility. Nicholas Dorelli Castro. I thought that was very well written, and it needed to be said.
Yeah.
Because that's not at all what they're looking to do. They're not
Exactly.
looking to criminalize or, put any one person, I guess. They're not, or a population.
Right.
They're saying they want all of us to act in the same manner. And that's not a lot to ask.
Yeah, I saw that posting, and I was glad he posted that.
Me too. Like I said, I really feel like it needed to be said, and I'm happy that he spoke up and said it, and I hope that we can move forward and we can talk about it more, and maybe find a path forward to at least make some compromises, because
Right.
we do very clearly have a problem.
That's why we, I think I was one that made the motion to move it to a second reading, because if we didn't, it would have died right there. And, that's a really nice thing that he wrote. And by going to a second reading, it's going to flesh out a little bit more. You'll have more people coming, maybe, with different opinions. But we can't just have the one reading and say we're not going to do anything.
Right. It was a 3-3 vote, Glenn, with the mayor splitting the tie. So Jeff, Michael Deering, and Don Ruthier all voted for, and Amanda Gustin, Beth Hillgartner, and Sonia Spalding voted against it. So, and then Tom broke the tie. So that's where you get your 4-3.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised. I really thought that Amanda would maybe vote with those that voted in favor. I thought that maybe she would be open to hearing more about it and looking into it more. But I wasn't shocked. I was a little surprised.
Yeah.
Only a little.
At least now it'll go to a second reading,
Right.
second hearing.
It'll, and usually that happens soon.
Yeah, well, will it be the next meeting? It might be. So there's no meeting this week. The earliest would be next Tuesday.
Yep, next Tuesday. So we'll have to wait and see what's on the agenda. I saw comments that said, and I think I said this to you last week, that people were saying, well, the only people must not be really concerned. They weren't there. The only people that were there in person speaking up were the people that were against the ordinance. And I say that is very untrue, because people have been speaking out for months. So they did the forum, the safety forum up at the Alumni Hall, and there were plenty of people there that spoke up. And this isn't the first time it was talked about at City Council. They shot it down not too long ago. They shot it down. The council itself did, and said they didn't want to invest the time and the money into it. And at that point, the mayor said, I will bring this back again.
Yes.
I will, pay for it out of my own pocket. I will have it drafted myself, and I will bring it back. And he did. And so it wasn't the first time it was discussed. And each time that it had been discussed prior to, people were very much in favor of it, because they want something to be done. And we see it and read it every day, all day in the chat pages. And it's not just here either. We need things done on the state level, in legislation, in the courts, and truth in sentencing, and bail reform. I mean, you can go down all kinds of rabbit holes when you talk about all of this stuff, but we got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And so why not right at home?
Yeah.
And do what we can do to at least curb things a little bit.
Yeah, you can't do nothing, because if you do nothing, nothing's going to change.
No.
When I was on the council back in the 90s, Harry Monty was the mayor then. And one thing he did was, after an election, when you got new members on, he'd give a little spiel. And the main thing that came out of it was, regardless of how you feel about a motion or something that another counselor is bringing up, don't let it die for lack of a second. At least second it so we can discuss it. If you don't move it along, it'll never get discussed, and you'll never know if it was doable or not. So, same thing with this. Go to a second reading.
And the good thing with the ordinance is, that's something that you can try for a while. You can tweak it. You can change it. You can
Yeah.
There are all kinds of things. This is just a start. It's like everybody has to start somewhere, and this
Right.
is a start. And so, and work from there.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I can't imagine that it's not like we're gonna see arrests and huge fines, and
No.
it's mostly asking, I think, asking people to be respectful, moving people along, and letting people know that that kind of behavior is not tolerated
Right.
here and won't be. And then if it persists, well, then whatever the consequences, what you make it yourself. You know, that's if that person's willing to persist, then yeah, yeah. Only people that show up are the Barry Progs, and that's not real. I don't think so.
No.
I've been at a good many council meetings where, I mean, I just the first time it was discussed, I was there, and several other people were there. Shannon Alexander spoke up. Then Rich McSheffrey spoke up. I spoke up. Tina Ruthier spoke up. The guy that currently owns Sidewalk Village, John Lyon, right? Spoke up. There were several people that spoke up the first meeting through. And like I said, several people that came to that safety forum and spoke up as well. And it's unfortunate that the Barry Progs are the ones that show up. And that's why I always say, I invite people all the time, show up, you know.
Yeah.
Don't just type in the chat pages, this is happening, that's happening, I'm pissed off about this, or I'm pissed off about that. Your voice does count, and it could count more if you were showing up willing to stand up and say something. If you can't come in person, participate online, participate in Zoom. You can still raise your hand and speak anytime you want to. Mike Richardson currently
Mike
owns
Richardson.
Sidewalk Village, so he spoke as well. John Lyon spoke. So, yeah, I mean, anybody can be involved. And I encourage people all the time to get down there and make your voice heard, no matter what it is that you have to say. You should do that. And the same goes for when it comes time to vote. Get your ass to the polls and do what you're
Exactly.
supposed to do. Because if you don't, nothing can change then either. Everything is going to stay the same if we can't, move things forward in one way or another.
So last election, there was 800 plus people that voted out of over 6,000 registered voters.
That's disgusting. That is terrible. And especially because you can vote absentee. There are so many ways to vote. And the fact that only 800 people cared to vote is just insane to me. Yeah, absolutely insane. It's sad. It's sad that people really have gotten to a space where they think that their voice doesn't matter, though, you know?
Yeah.
And, but that mindset is what has got us here, really, because your voice does matter.
Right.
So use it, damn it,
Yeah.
instead of just writing it in the chat page. Hillary Scott says she was gone, but she voted absentee. I know a lot of people do. Glenn says that's pathetic. It really is. It's pathetic and it's sad. It's really sad that we've gotten to that point.
Yep. I mean, they're saying some of it was, the switch from March to May,
But we've done it a couple of years
right.
now,
And
3
and
years
it's been,
in May.
Right. And it's always well advertised. There's no excuse.
No excuse. And the reason I believe, or at least the reason I have heard, is the switching to the May instead of March is so that they can give the constituents a true or a truer
Right.
budget to vote
Right.
on. That in March they don't know that. So
Exactly.
they're shooting from the hip. They're guesstimating this budget, and then what if it's way higher? then people are going to be really pissed off that, they were lied to. And so this way it can give a pretty close, if not the budget, on the ballot and say, this is what you're going to vote on. And so that's why they did it. And I think for that reason, I think that it's a pretty good reason. And I'm not going to lie, as somebody who stays up at the polls from 7 in the morning till 7 at night, I don't mind not freezing my ass off out there because it's much warmer.
We were actually cooking. It was
Yeah.
like 80 degrees
Yeah,
out.
it was, but I'd much rather be doing that than in March, because when we were doing it in March, oh my gosh, we had some really shitty weather, for sure. That was bad. It was bad. Yeah. So I'm not complaining ever about
Right.
the whole May thing, for sure.
And I'm sure there's people out there that are of voting age that haven't even registered to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And you should. I mean, if you care and you believe in something, you gotta be able to vote. So
Yeah.
get registered to vote.
I actually know a lot of people that aren't registered as well as adults. A couple of years ago, I met a couple. They're in their 40s that had never voted before. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? But they vote now. And
Yeah.
so I'm super happy that they do that. They were down helping us in sine waves and stuff. And then I found out they didn't vote. And I'm like, well, what the hell? Put the sign down then, because holding the sign doesn't do us a damn bit of good. Your check on the ballot is what matters. So, and now they're there. They're always there voting. So
I remember when I got registered to vote, I think it was 18 years old. Arreste Velson Giacomo Sr., Rusty's dad. He was a state
did he come to
representative.
your house?
He would walk around the neighborhood and knock on doors and say, "Are you registered to vote? How old are you?" And if you were like with me, I was 18. He said, "Let's get you signed up."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same happened with me. I lived in Barry Town because my first apartment was in South Barry, and Topper McFawn
Yeah.
is who registered me to vote all those years ago. We're not saying how many years ago, but all those years ago it was Topper
Fewer than
McFawn.
mine.
Yeah, it was Topper that did it. And now you can do it at DMV when you renew your license. You can do it online. It's as easy as voting itself to register. And so there's
You can
there's
go
really
right to
no
the
excuse
city
for it.
clerk's or town clerk's office too.
Yeah.
It's,
And do it. You got to be in there paying your taxes anyway.
yeah.
So there's no excuse not to. So I think that's about it. We've get out, get an ice cream, enjoy it. Go over to Legendary Maple and Ice Cream. in
Tell them Raylene sent
Williamstown.
you.
Tell them I sent you for real. And they have so many flavors.
So does their whole board now? Do they have everything?
Almost. So
Yeah.
they're going to be adding some more new flavors this week, and then next week even more. So it's starting to fill up. Michael Booten, he got a butter pecan soft serve,
Oh.
but I got the maple coffee bourbon, and oh my gosh, that was amazing. So they do have butter pecan, but it's in a soft serve. And they have all kinds of new things. And now they have a maple push pop.
Really?
I saw a couple of people order that. That looked kind of good too. But I learned to only get the half scoop, because if you get a 1 scoop, it is not 1 scoop. I don't know who, like 1 scoop for Godzilla maybe. it's a 3. The ice creams are huge. The half scoop, I had all I could do to finish.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just insane amount of ice cream, but worth every single bit. I'm telling you, you have to. Yes, they did have chocolate chip mint, Glenn. They had that on the menu.
Oh, I forgot to say, Saturday I took a road trip. And my older son Justin and I, we went over to Middlebury
Yep.
to hit the A&W.
To hit A&W.
Oh yeah.
I do that once in a while. I'll
Got to
go
do
just
it. You got to do
because.
it once or twice a summer. I mean, it's a haul, but it's worth it.
My ex-husband is traveling. He bought an RV and he's traveling across the United States, and he says that they are everywhere out there. There's
Yeah,
A&W
there's
everywhere out
nothing
there.
in. I think the one in Middlebury is the only one left in Vermont.
Yeah, yeah. But he says out there, they're literally everywhere. He
Yeah.
said it's like a McDonald's or something over here. They're just everywhere.
I think Justin said he looked it up. There's one in Vermont, and there's one other one in New England, and then there's a couple in New York.
Yep. That used to be one of my favorite places to
Oh.
go. We would go to A&W, and we could
On the
get
Barry Montpelier
on
Road?
the Barry Montpelier
Oh,
Road.
that's-
Get
I worked
hot
there.
dogs. And then my parents take us to the drive-in.
Yeah.
Yep. If we were really good, that's what we get to do. And then in the winter time, on Friday nights, we would go to the Tower Restaurant.
Yep.
But in the summer, we always went to the A&W and then the drive-in.
So that's when we had the drive-in and the car hops and
Yeah, all
yeah,
that.
I worked there all through high school.
All of that amazing stuff that kids today like miss out
Oh,
on. They
man,
have
that was-
no idea.
That was the best place. It was the
We-
best place to work, I'll tell
We
you.
had it damn good when we were kids.
Oh,
We
yeah.
may not have thought so, but we really
Yeah.
did. I think so. I would love for kids now to experience
Yeah.
what we got to. That's for sure.
The downfall of that place was when the franchise made them switch it over to an eat-in restaurant.
Yep.
And then they had to serve. See, everything down there was fresh stuff. Frank DeMel was the owner. He bought his own beef, cut it up, ground it. Everything was fresh. There was none of this frozen stuff that came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
We
was-
used to toast the buns perfectly for the hot dogs.
Yeah.
They were the best.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I ended up in the kitchen. I started as a soda jerk and ended up in the kitchen.
And ended up in the
Yeah.
kitchen. Those were the days. Like I said, my first job ever was working at Aubuchon's for Ron Tallman.
Yeah.
He was my boss.
Yeah, I remember when Ron ran
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
That was the first job I ever had. I loved working there, making keys, making paint. I learned a lot of stuff
Yeah.
when I was there. It's one of my most favorite jobs I've ever had in my whole life.
So the Middlebury A&W still has car hops,
Mm-hmm.
and they have picnic tables outside, so you can either sit in your car and eat or go to a picnic table. So it's worth the drive.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right. Get out there, enjoy some ice cream, maybe take a ride to Middlebury, and just enjoy.
Yeah,
Enjoy what you can, when you can.
because
Each
before
and
you
every
know
day,
it, the leaves will be falling off the trees.
Right.
The wind will start blowing cold air.
Exactly, and it'll be over. So get out there and enjoy it. And until Thursday,
Yep.
have a great one.